Thank you, Chuck. Thank you all for being here. And I want to first say thank you to my wife, Jenny, who's been with me all day. And it's not too often that she's able to be with me in a full day of campaigning. And it was really wonderful to have her with me, knowing that our two girls were still in school, because I wouldn't allow them to come out of school today. But my wife and I enjoyed the day immensely. And to cap it off with this great crowd and friends and family, and Nick, what a wonderful job, my nephew. And just to see the faces here, an opportunity, and I see what the future is going to be just looking in this room. But I want to also thank my two children, Nicole and Hannah. Really, Jen is the foundation of all that we do, but to have these two children and to see how they're growing and to know that, you know, their future is what this is all about. Just like everyone out here who has children and grandchildren. It's all about their future. So I want to thank them, and I want to thank my mom and dad. As you know, my father, Bobby, owned a restaurant. We grew up for 30 years. He was a restaurateur, and we grew up in the family business. And I started peeling potatoes, washing dishes, and if we needed the bus tables at the time, Dad would say, get out there and get it done. You just get the job done. You know, and my mom was at home, and at times she was in the restaurant. But we worked as a family, and we got the job done. But I saw times while my father and mother worked, I saw what the government regulation did to small business. I started with those types of values. And then, when my father went to the state senate, and I'll tell you, I don't know if it's a secret for many of you, but you all probably know, he's a Democrat. But that's not a bad thing for my father. He's a fiscal conservative. And I remember a day when John Sununu, the governor, came to our house. And my father said to the three boys, you know, you guys got to go off to the side and meet with the governor. And I didn't know what it was about until a few years later, and I really understood what that meeting was all about. And what it was about was my father had given his word and commitment to Governor John Sununu that he would be the only Democrat to vote for his budget. And he did. And he may have gotten some flack for that from his party, but at the end of the day, he put principle over party. He put principle over politics. And that's what this election is about. It's about regaining the trust of the American people in Congress. It's about making sure we hold Congress accountable. It's about having a Congress that's fiscally responsible. Because right now our fiscal house is a mess. And we have a Congress that's broken. We have a Washington that's broken. And I think every one of you out here knows what I'm talking about. I don't have to tell you about the approval ratings. I want a Congress that you can trust. I want to make sure we get the job done for the American people so you can feel confidence. I am not a pessimistic person. I'm an optimist. I love this country. We have the greatest country on earth. And I want to even make it greater for my children, for your children, and your grandchildren. And we're going to do it. It's going to take a lot of work, but we're going to do it. And it starts today. It started in Conway, it started in Laconia, it started in Portsmouth, and it's starting here in Manchester. And every one of you here are going to help us bring that message of fiscal responsibility, accountability, and making sure Washington's working for your interests, not special interests. And we're going to do that each and every day. One of the major concerns I have, running a state, the largest department in state government, $1.7 billion budget over the last 4 years. And one of the biggest concerns I have in Washington is the fiscal irresponsibility. Spending is out of control. Over the last few years, with the tax cuts, and we're going to talk briefly about those, we've seen the most significant growth in revenue of our time. We don't have a revenue problem in Washington. We have a spending problem. And we have people that can't control spending. We have people that don't know what it means to live within your means. Each and every one of you here today do that, and you know what I'm talking about. Over the last 6 years, $2 trillion in deficit spending. Representatives that represented this district voting for massive deficit spending over the last 6 years. That is putting the future generation of my children, your children, grandchildren at risk. That's mortgaging their future. And we're going to change that. And we're going to get our fiscal house in order. But it starts by electing new blood, new leadership, a new vision, and it starts by electing people that don't just go down there and do something different than what they tell you. It starts by electing people that tell you what their values are and exercise those values in each and every decision they make. And my values are all about New Hampshire. New Hampshire values: limited government, less spending, less regulation, and more freedom.